It is the Friday before May Long. I've got the day off today, and I woke up with only one thing on my mind, and that was to go on an adventure. The only thing that mattered to me today was getting out into nature. I don't drive, so it needs to be somewhere that I could bus to. So I decided to go explore the Northeast Swale in Saskatoon. If you've never heard of the Swale, picture a 26-kilometer long ancient river that cuts kind of through the area northeast of Saskatoon. I think it's 2,800 hectares of native prairie and wetland habitat, which is an absolutely huge area. It's basically a living time capsule, which I think is pretty cool. And if you're driving, you know, it's not that far away to get to. I took the bus, which did take about an hour, mostly because of my fault, because I ended up missing my second bus. That being said, it's super easy to get to. It's definitely a place to come check out. Less than 5% of the natural grassland that once blanketed this whole area still exists today. So that's why it's so important for there to be places like the Northeast Swale where these areas are protected for generations to come. My first impressions of the Northeast Swale here is the soundtrack, you know, that prairie soundtrack. If you're quiet, I mean, for you, it might just hear like gurgled wind. But for me, I can hear so many different types of birds. You hear the wind rustling through the grass. You still hear over there the distant hum of the city, of cars, but it's quiet. Quieter than, you know, if you were just a few hundred meters that way. It is calming and beautiful. It's really nice. The Swale hosts almost 300 plant species and upwards of 175 bird species. When you come and visit, watch for the bright orange prairie lily, which is Saskatchewan's provincial flower. But also keep an eye out for tiny crowfoot violets peeking between limestone shards. Under the grass, a whole wetland web thrums with life. There's leopard frogs, western tiger salamanders, and dragonflies running air patrol. So if you see in the ridge behind me, there is a ton of rocks. And in fact, there's rocks everywhere in these ridges. Now, interestingly enough, when the colonial settlers first came to this area, they tried to carve out those rocks, tried to use them for building materials. However, these rocks are pretty stubborn. So there are some rocks throughout where you'll still see like drill marks, holes, that sort of thing, from when it was essentially a quarry. Okay, so another really interesting, cool part of the Northeast Swale is that there is this historical line kind of running through it. The Moose Woods Batoche Trail used to run right through this area here. And actually in the recreation zone just over there, you can still see traces of it. It was used by Métis traders, the Cree, Dakota, even eventually General Middleton's troops used this trail all during the resistance in 1885. The path itself, you know, the ruts are faint, but those stories, those are etched in the earth forever. The earth will always remember those stories and all the people who traveled through this area.
For the Métis, trails like this were lifelines. They linked river lots, trade posts, and kin. Protecting the Swale also means honoring these connections. Urban growth is pressing hard on every edge of the Swale. Roads slice across wildlife corridors, and speed limits are a literal life and death debate for frogs and foxes and grouse.
When you walk through here, you really understand that conservation isn't this abstract idea. It is a choice that our city makes, that cities around the world make, that people around the world make, to protect and preserve. I just heard, when I think it's a grouse, thumps on its chest. And it's so fun just taking 30 seconds to just be quiet. Hawk. But if you just take 30 seconds to be quiet, and you might hear that thumping sound, you might hear a coyote yip, just the birds, a bug zipping by you. Speaking of, the bugs are terrible. There's mosquitoes everywhere. Yeah, it just kind of reminds you that, nature is on its own little path. Everyone's just going around doing their own thing each day. All the birds and bugs and animals. It's kind of cool. And I'm just here in their little backyard, hanging out for the day. So that is my Friday, visiting the Northeast Swale here in Saskatoon. If you're from the city, make sure you come check it out. It's really beautiful. You can have a nice time, a good walk. You can have a little contemplation, which is always nice. Keep an eye out for all the beautiful flora and fauna that's here. It's really important that these types of ecological reserves exist, that we still have, native prairie here in Saskatchewan and across our country. Stay on the walking paths and just enjoy your time here. Drive slow if you're driving through, and leave a comment if you've ever been to the Swale before, if you have any other cool areas that I should check out in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, or the world. I'm always looking for something fun to do. Thank you so much for watching. And come check out the Northeast Swale. It's definitely worth it.